Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on the Hagenstedt map. Let's get back to reliving the glory days. Now, where did I get to? I was over that side of the field, so I'll go back over there and then we'll skip the combine and we will change that one over to just moving up and down. I think we only do once round the field on that bit. Let's go on up here. And if I spin round like that, it's ready to go. That one is ready to go in a second. I'm going to go to you right here. Open that one, and I'm just going to... Oh. I got to just stop him before I can change it over. Then I can change it over like that, and then I can go and do that. And then he'll carry on again. So that one we can leave. And then I want to go to this one here. There's another field done. Let's go on out to that one out that way. So if I switch to the back mower and I put it pointing behind me, when I go whizzing on round here, very curious to see what the grass equipment is going to be. There is a class mower that has 5 mower decks, and I've seen it's a class, you know, I don't know what it is, class something, but I did use a mod of that one in FS17, I think it was, and I believe that one was actually made for like FS13, and then it was converted not very well to FS15, and then it was converted again not very well to FS15. So by the time I got hold of it to use it, to be honest, it wasn't a particularly good mod. It was fantastic being able to mow with the 5 mower decks and this massive great big thing whizzing along the fields. It really was, but overall the mod really struggled. Like, it would have been quite an amazing mod at one point, but when I got hold of it, it wasn't all that great. Now, I don't know if somebody did take it and do a load more work on it. I would love to see that one coming into the base game. Like, mowers in general, I want to get some decent mowers in this game. The big ones, not, you know, I know that we got that Krone one. It does go really fast. It's really awesome, and yada yada yada. I want better. I want more from my mowers. I don't just want that Krone Big M to be the only option I've got for self-propelled mowers when there are so many others out there. I would like to have a huge, great big mower available in this game for me to play with, and I feel that I'm not being unnecessarily greedy in requesting such a thing. I think that I've got every right to want to have a really awesome big mower, like the huge great big class machine. That's the kind of thing I want, because if you get a really big field and then you're driving around with your Krone Big M, honestly it doesn't feel like you're doing a lot. The width of the big class machine, whatever that thing was called, I really can't remember what it was called. Because it's based on one in real life. They do actually have them. It's got 5 mower decks, not just 3 like the Krone Big M. You know, 1 out on each side and 1 in front. It's actually got 5. It's got 1 out each side, and then there's another one that sticks out even further than that. And the reason it's got 5 rather than 3 big decks is because the smaller decks means that it can go over rougher ground. Now, I've seen real-life footage of that mower being used in New Zealand, in the more mountainous regions in New Zealand, and it really does fit. Like, it does well for the job there. It does an amazing job there because of how uneven some of the pasture land is. Having the 5 slightly smaller decks works amazingly well, and if you were to do that with 3 really big wide decks, you would struggle to cut the grass properly, and that's something that I actually quite like seeing. And I've not seen it in real life, I've just seen a YouTube video of it, by the way, just to clarify. I've never actually been to New Zealand. But And I've seen these working in fields as well, so I'd like to see some more mower options. I mean, we did get a few mower options in this one, didn't we? We got... I'm talking about base game machines. Obviously, you got mods, and that came in. There was that one there, which allowed us to put on a... what do you call thing? I thought that these here, the class disco ones, I thought that they actually had a swather option. They don't. It's an individual swather on each row that is cut. Now, this one had an overall swather option so that it would put everything on the outside all into one, which was really, really cool. So that one goes out 10 meters wide. We had a couple of trailed mower options, and then obviously we got a few mods that people put in as well, which were pretty cool. I think actually that NovaCat one there was the one from the mod competition, and that one had a swathing option on it. So we've got, you know, a few different mower options, but I still felt that they were a bit limited in the game. And then with the self-propelled mower, you had that one. And then this one was introduced to the Alpine Pack, which, whilst very cool, you're not exactly going to be mowing a lot with that. Like, that's really good for doing the really small farms, and yes, it does fit. It's absolutely amazing, and you can go and use it for that, but yeah. This is your option. You got this one here. It's 25k is the standard speed, it's 10 meters wide. And I felt a bit let down by that. I felt that we should have something that was bigger than the 10 meter wide one, so I just felt that the mowing category was a little bit deserted. Another one was definitely the sugarcane. It was literally just this harvester again. No other brands of harvester was available. We did have the trailed one, which was very narrow and small and old. But we didn't have... Case are not the only people that make self-propelled harvesters. There are harvesters that are actually wider than this and do cut more at once. And not only that, the hired help working with these, it felt very much a secondary thought. I know that not a huge amount of people use sugarcane, and so it's not a priority for them, but the way that the hired help worked with this, I found really quite disappointing. Just the way that it stops on the ends of the rows and lifts up and down, and it really struggles to actually do that properly. And I, for one, was actually a little bit disappointed with that, and I felt that it could have been done better. So I've got high hopes for the sugarcane this time round, hoping that that is going to be improved upon. If it's not, if I got to choose between more mower options and more choice and that available with grass, or I've got to choose... If I'm literally having to choose, and they've not had time to do both, and so they've had to sit there and say, right, do we code better AI for running the sugarcane harvester and, you know, maybe even make another sugarcane harvester, or do we give more options for mowing and really work on improving that? Mowing wins for me hands down. I'm not going to lie about that. I definitely want the mowers to get the love. But if there's a little bit of time to do a bit extra and add a bit more for my sugarcane harvesters, yep, I would very much like to see that as well. So, I don't know what's going to happen with the sugarcane. We'll wait and see. That's kind of a, yep, I can live with it. I can live with it like it is. I would prefer not to have to live with it like it is. I would prefer to get something nice and shiny and something that, you know, works really, really well. But if they can't, for whatever reason, you know, coding is difficult. I wouldn't even know where to start, so who am I to judge? If it can't be done, it can't be done. We'll have to live with it. I would rather have more stuff for the grass. If we can get both, that'd be fantastic. That really would. So anyway, let's leave you there, and we want to go over to Le Combine over here. So I got 79,000 litres of oats at the moment. Pretty sure that I will be able to harvest all of the oats up in the top field before I have to empty out my 120,000 litre tank. I've got 80,000 at the moment. So if we go here, past the big giant stone, I reckon we can whiz up and down these two fields and put everything we've got in here into this combine, and then we can empty out into the trailer, and then we can get started on the big field at the end. And I'm going to go there like that, and I will switch over to AI working in circles, and then I will do that. And this is where we struggled last time. The combine straddled the road. This time, however, it's being a good boy. It's going to continue to be a good boy. It is going to be a good boy all the way up to the top, right. Is it going to be the goodest of boys and go to the right? It is going to be the goodest of boys. Okay, well that one can carry on there. I have a tractor here with a forage wagon attached to the back of it, so let's do what we can do best with one of these and fill it up with straw and stuff. Bring that one back over there, and I will start whizzing on round here. So I need to go round once more, gather all of this up. So, other stuff in Farming Simulator 22. We've got the rocks. Now, not only will you be able to have a stone picking machine, I personally would like to see stone picking, because when you plow up your fields, you will start to turn up stones every now and then you've got to go and remove them. Now, I used to, the only time I ever got involved with removing stones from a field was actually going along and picking them up by hand. And I'll be honest, that wasn't very much fun. That being said, I would still like to see stone picking by hand as an option in the game. I don't think it will be. I don't think we're going to see that. But that, for me, I just thought would be something that would be pretty cool to be able to see that. It turns out that there is another option. You don't have to go and use the stone picker. Now, what you can do is you use a stone picker, you drive it up and down the field. If you leave the stones, over time they get bigger, they affect the crop yield. I don't know if they affect machinery going over the stones or anything, but the stones, as you get more stones on the surface of the field, it does actually affect the crop yield. So you need to remove them. You can get your stone picker, you get that going up and down the field, and when it's full, you take it out, you tip it off to the side, and then you can load your load of hard... You've got stones then, you've got a pile of stones. You know, most farms would use that as hardcore for putting down on tracks, filling in little bits in gateways, that sort of thing. But you can load it into a trailer, and you can take it off to wherever on your map, and you can sell the stones as a byproduct from your farm. So you're literally going out, harvesting stones, and... You know, we've reached the point where you can grow stones in your fields. Plough your fields, and you can grow some stones in it. And go and harvest them, and then take them off, and you can sell them. I mean, you're not going to make a lot. So, if you were to have a farm that was entirely dedicated to the growing of stones, you probably won't make very much money. But it's there, it's possible, you can do it if you want to. I think that's amazing. I think it's absolutely wonderful. We can have a farm that just grows stones, if that's what we want to do. Now I want to do that. I want to see if we can make any money growing stones and nothing else. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to plough the field and then cultivate it. So then the hired help would allow you to plough it again. Because if you just ploughed it and then you put the hired help going over it a second time for ploughing it, that wouldn't work. But if you ploughed it, actually, if you ploughed it, you then run the stone picker over it and pick out the stone. Excuse me, got hiccups. Run a stone picker over the ploughed field and pick out all the stone. Then you go back through, and I wonder if you could plough straight after, and the hired help would actually allow you to plough. And if you could, that would be really awesome. Because then you would be literally just plough, stone pick, and see if that would actually be profitable. That would be so awesome. Okay, I really want to try that now. That's going to be one of the ones that we will do when we replace this series. We will see if we can make some money by picking stones out of the field. So that's not going to be the only option when it comes to stones, though. Rollers. Now, we haven't really got much of a use of rollers in this game. Occasionally, I've seen mods released where if you put a roller over grass, it adds a layer of fertilizer. And that's it. In our game, the only roller that we have got at the moment is under miscellaneous right here, the Meadow Roller. It restores ground, deletes the fields. And that's it. That's the only roller that we got. They're adding in rollers to the game, and I think we're going to have 2 different types. I don't know if it is actually going to be 2 different types, or if it's just that the one it's going to be Cambridge rolls, which is the ring rollers. The one that I just looked at there, that's a big solid roller. These days they're generally iron outside and steel sheeting, and then you fill the thing up with water so that it's nice and heavy and you drag it around fields. Long time ago, they used to be made out of very, very large chunks of granite in the part of the world that I live in, and my dad still has a granite roller that my granddad had on his farm, and when they used that granite roller, it was one of the biggest. Granite rollers were being made when horses were the ones that were dragging the rollers around fields. And their granite roller that they had made was one of the biggest granite rollers in the entire area, if not the actual biggest granite roller of all of them. It was too big to be pulled downhill by horses. It would have pushed the horses too hard. It was too heavy for that. So if you had flat land, you could use it with horses. It was actually made specifically for being pulled by tractors, and it was around the time that tractors were just starting to come in to replace horses in fields, and so they had this granite roller. I guess they had it made, whether they ordered it made or something. I don't know the story behind its origin. I just know that it was the biggest roller in the district, and it was too big for horses to use on hills. They could only use, and also it was too big for one horse to pull as well. Excuse me. They had to have a team of horses to pull it. So it was designed for the tractors. You put that behind a Massey 35, and the Massey would be fine so long as it didn't go down too steep a hill. And I have seen that roller pushing a tractor down a hill, and my goodness me, doesn't it push it. So that was a really, really heavy granite, but I've sidetracked. Never mind the granite roller. Rollers for grass, generally, great big chunk of iron, big round tube of iron, basically, that you fill up with water, and then you can adjust the weight accordingly to however the conditions require. And once you have filled it up and it's underway, there's very little that you need to do apart from sit there and slowly drive up and down the fields. Rolling is not an exciting job. It's never been an exciting job, and it never will be an exciting job. Now, arable side of things, using those flat, smooth rollers is not actually very good, because if you planted your crop and then you use a small flat roller like that, it creates a perfectly smooth, flat texture all along the field. And the way that wind works, that's actually bad for the crop, because what will happen is the wind will blow, and because there is absolutely no resistance to the wind at all close to the ground, it actually causes the wind to blow slightly faster right just above the surface than it does a little bit higher up. It's some weird physics thing. I had it explained to me by one of the college professors, I think, when I was at uni, was explaining this. Was explaining it to all of us, why you would use the Cambridge rollers rather than the ring rollers. The ring rollers, they are ridged, and the reason that they're ridged is so that it creates this uneven texture. The ridge is about an inch and a half, so you're looking at about somewhere between 2 and 4 centimeters, I suppose, on the difference between the high point of the roll and the low point of the roller. I don't want to go in there. Oh no, I've already gone and filled the other one up, so I actually don't want to go in there either. I want to drive all the way around and I want to put this in storage, don't I? That's what I want to do with this. And by making those little ridges, it makes ridges all the way across an arable field. So you've planted and then you roll it with this, and it makes all these little tiny ridges. Very, very small and insignificant, but what they do is they actually create shelter. So when the plant germinates, when the seed germinates and it's just starting to come through the ground, it's actually sheltered. Because of those little tiny ridges, the air at ground level, because of those ridges, is almost still. Even when there's a good strong, if there's a good strong wind blowing, right down on ground level, there's hardly any air movement because of all of these ridges. It helps to keep everything stable, and it allows the plant just enough to get itself a little bit more established. And there is a noticeable difference. If you've got the right wind conditions, it can damage the plants if they've had the smooth roller go over it, and well, not necessarily damage them, but just hold them back a little tiny bit. And there is a noticeable difference in trials between the two different types of roller as to how quickly plants can get established. I don't know what the results are. I cannot tell you what the details of that are. I don't know what the numbers are. I just know, without any doubt, that there is a definite improvement on crop performance and the speed at which the plant gets established and starts growing with the ring roller compared to the flat roller, which I always thought was quite amazing. So you got it's only a little tiny, it's like 1-inch ridges, so 2.5 centimeter ridges all the way across your field, and that makes a difference. And I think it's as much as a week, and so a week, 10 days extra that it takes for the plant to get properly established when you've got the flat smooth roller compared to the Cambridge rolls. It may not be quite that. It might not be a week, 10 days. It might be slightly less than that. Like I said, I don't know the numbers. I just know that it is a difference. There is a noticeable difference, and it's significant enough that farmers do actually invest in a set of Cambridge rollers as well as a flat roller if they're doing both. Which I thought was quite significant. I thought that was definitely worthy of being talked about. You know, you've got enough of a difference in your crop yields that it is worth going out and buying a whole different set of rollers to do your arable land compared to doing your grasslands. That's an amazing thing. And you wouldn't have thought that something so insignificant would make a difference. So they've got the Cambridge rollers in this game. And if you go and roll them, I don't know if it's a yield difference or if it counts as a layer of fertilizer. I think it's a yield difference for the rolling on the arable crops. And if you go and roll grass fields, I believe that it's not a yield difference as such. I think that you can choose to go and roll them, and rolling grass essentially acts like a layer of fertilizer. But you can't do that at the later stages of growth. You can only do it at an early stage of growth, because if you go along and roll the grass field at a later stage of growth, whilst it will add the layer of fertilizer, it also knocks the grass back to the early stage. So you've got to plan it. You've actually got to plan it in carefully and do it right. Because if you roll your grass too late, you're knocking it back, as in real life. If I go along to a field of grass that is half grown and then go and run my roller over it, it does knock the grass back a little bit. Depending on how long the grass is will depend on how much it will knock it back. You could delay the final silage cut by as much as a week. And in early May, when the grass is coming up and you are looking seriously at doing your silage, losing a week on your grass growth is a very significant thing. Because the earlier you can cut, if you're doing silage, you want to cut that grass as early as possible in the year. I'm talking about Europe now. I don't know about the rest of the world. But certainly here in England, May is when you want to be cutting your silage. The later you cut the grass, the less sugar there is in the grass, and the poorer the quality of it. May silage, the earlier you get it, the better the quality. And that's it. It's just a standard rule. But you can't go and cut it too early because you won't have a lot there. So you've got to get that sweet spot. You've got to hope for enough warm days to really get that grass going and really get it growing properly. And you want to be cutting your silage in May. If you've got to wait until June, you'll still have plenty of silage. You'll still have your silage there, but it's just not quite as good. It's just the quality is just slightly poorer. And then so a lot of farms will do 3 cuts of silage. Do one in May, they will do one in the end of July, and then they'll do one in September. The quality of the silage itself does noticeably deteriorate from through each cut. The first cut, the one in May, is the absolute best silage that you can make. And the earlier you get that cut, the better. Alright, if you can be cutting your silage in the second week of May, you're gonna have, and you've got a decent quantity there, you're gonna have some very nice silage. That is gonna be really good stuff. So you want to be aiming for silage in May if at all possible. So you don't want to be going out there in the middle of April and running a roller over your field, because by the middle of April your grass should be half grown. You should be well on your way to getting that cut properly established. And if you go and run a roller over it, then you're going to knock it back, and that's going to affect the actual quality of the stuff that you're growing. So then you get the end of July, beginning of August cut, maybe a little bit earlier than that, depending on when the previous one was done. But yes, sometime around the end of July, usually, I think. You get a cut there, and you whip that one off. That one is middle ground. Middle of the year, middle ground. It's acceptable for everybody. It's still some nice silage. It'll smell nice. It'll taste nice to the cows. And it's some good quality silage. It's not the absolute cream of the crop, but it's still some good stuff. By the time you get round to the cut that you do in September, mid to end of September, this is the poor quality. This is much poorer. There's much less sugar in that one, and the overall quality of the silage is generally poorer. It's still got good feed value in it, but it's not the cream of the crop. So if you're running them, some farmers will just add each layer of silage into a clamp, although that's done a lot less these days. They tend to keep the 3 lots separate, and I know quite a few farmers that very deliberately keep the 3 lots separate, because the 3 different lots get fed to 3 different groups of animals. The mid-range stuff, that gets fed to... mid-range stuff gets fed to the cows. If you're running a beef farm, I don't know about dairy farm, I don't know very much about... Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.